Welcome to Formula 7 Realistic. We are live here in Monza. Should be a good one, a double dose of Monza. Actually, we did race here on Sunday. So Ryan Di is going to be the first driver out on track to set a lap. And we'll see what he can do in that Red Bull. He wasn't here last week, so he'll be raring to get back on track. I'm just going to do a quick sound check. So on board with Ryan at Di as he comes around the Lesmo chicane. Jack with that qualifying ban. He does retire. I'm alright, how have you been? So down through Seraglio and towards Verdante Ascari. So in towards turn 8 over the apex 8, keeps it valid. I think he was a little bit surprised there through turn 9 and 10 as we head towards Parabolica, or Alboreto as some people call it. Oh, I didn't realise that was on loud. I've not even got you as a friend, mate, to be honest. So Ryan Davina 1:28.8 on the intermediates. Hackmore in the Ferrari Zora War after that race ban is back on track with a 1:29.6, 8 tenths behind the Red Bull. We do have Hackmore on a lap and both Kick Salbers who are on out laps. I think Mitch is just getting a tow, he was. So a bit of a tow. I am on the Formula 7 account. So around at Parabolica at turn 11. And then down towards the start-finish line. Mitch has come out on the full wets, and I don't think it's paid off. It hasn't. A 1:31.4. And then we will jump back on board with Hackmore and see what he can do in that Scuderia Ferrari. And Deadly goes fastest in the Aston Martin, a 1:28.1. 7 tenths quicker than the Red Bull. The track evolution will be crucial in this Grand Prix. So, Hackmore down towards Parabolica. No, he's not racing. I think he's just watching. I don't actually know why he's joining. It doesn't look like you're online, Salute. Yeah, no, I do send a lot of invites. He usually does work on a refresh. No, it's still not there. I was going to say. Ah, you're right at the bottom now. So, Hackmore 1:30.3, Ryan Davine, Zora War and Deadly, all your top 3. Mitch and Nick did set a lap time, and Reese in the other Scuderia is on an outlap. Wait. Oh, B-Rat's not here. It's Lewis and Super Trubo in the McLarens. I actually didn't know B-Right wasn't racing. No, yeah, I knew he was on holiday, I just didn't realise he weren't racing. That's massive in the championship. Ryan Davine goes even quicker, a 1:28.0 in that Red Bull and goes fastest here in Q1. Remember, Jack and Theo do have qualifying bans. I don't know who was supposed to start in front out of Jack and Theo, but whoever it was should have probably set a really slow lap. So Nimble Cat in the Williams reserving today. down towards Ascari. I think Williams are just hoping that they can get a driver on track who will finish the race, and Nimble will do everything in his power to finish a Grand Prix. He can only do so much though. With the rain falling and no ghosting, realistic performance, it will be very tricky in that Williams for Nimble. But he's coming down towards Parabolica. Nick in the Sauber goes up to P4. I know, Mr. Reeds, this is your track, especially in the rain. So around Parabolica for Nimblecat up towards line. This isn't bad at all, actually. Nimblecat will go up to P6 with a 1:30.3 in front of Hackmore as well in that Ferrari. Jeff Boy in the Red Bull on the wet. So just under 10 minutes remaining, and CJ will start his flying lap. So in towards Retafilo with that Racing Bull. Theo's left the session. Wait, did Epic OJ join? Yeah. So CJ coming around the Lesmos now at turn 6 and 7. And the Racing Bull in the rain. He's on the wets as well. She's opted for the blue tyres. And then down towards Ascani. I mean, the race did start at 5 past. He asked for a 5 or 10 minute buffer. He got it. Oh, a little snap there from CJ. And he loses the rears in that Racing Bull. So he'll have to go again. So Epic OJ with that engine penalty of the tyres. Oh, and CJ could have invalidated this lap and his next lap. And Lewis W coming out of Ascari down towards Parabolica. Michael Alboreto. Out of turn 11 for the Papaya McLaren. A little snap there as he comes up towards the line. It is Reese that goes fastest in Q1 and Lewis W goes P5. What about Super Turbo and Fanfinus? Fanfinus, remember, your championship leader, the current reigning world champion as well. Super Turbo goes to the line, goes P7 behind Zora War. Reese goes even quicker with a 1:26.5. So the drivers will begin to up the ante here in Monza. Out of a Ascari for the Mercedes, and you were right on board with him with that Apex GP helmet on as he just slams it through turn 10 and then down towards Parabolica. And he is in. Mirko bigging up AMS now, Alien Motorsports. I've dealt with Alien Motorsports in the past, a brilliant outfit, a great esports team, a lot of fantastic drivers. So big up AMS and well done to Mirko for getting in that team as well. Sorry guys. So remember, only 2 drivers will be eliminated here in Q1. Fanfinus went up to P2. AMS Mirko coming in to the double Lesmos. So through Seraglio and down towards Ascari. I knew you was on holiday, Ben, but I just didn't know you weren't racing. I don't know why. Out of Ascari for the Mercedes. And AMS Mirko down in towards Parabolica. I don't know if anybody's ever done it, but before I came on to the race tonight, I set up 3D audio with my headset. And it's brilliant. Up to P2 for AMS Mirko, 1/10 behind Reese. We know how quick he was in Monza on Sunday. Hackmore up to P4 and Nick playing no games in that Sauber. Yeah, I set up that 3D audio and it's bloody brilliant. You have to sort of sit there and go through 7 stages of where you hear the sound coming from and all that. But yeah, it really gives you a full effect when you've got both headphones on. Really gives you a sound of where the car is, especially when you've got it on broadcast like this. You can hear the background noise, you can hear the engine coming into play and things like that. Salute is allowed to spectate. Salute's in the lobby. So Jay in P6 now in that Haas. Zora War into the pit lane, Super Turbo. Around Parabolica for the McLaren. Is he going to be able to improve? The Super Turbo does improve and up to P10 at the moment. It is Goldmans and Casper that will go out. So the Racing Bull of Goldmans, who raced in the Red Bull last week. Down in towards Della Roggia. Oh, and he hits that apex. Thumps into it, actually. And then into the Lesmos. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him. I think that is his teammate who's going to give him a bit of a tow down through Seraglio. So look at this. The Racing Bulls are working together. Nicely done from Goldmans and CJ. A huge slipstream peels off to the left-hand side. And the Racing Bulls here in Monza are not coming to play at all. Goldmans out of Ascari down towards Parabolica. Sorry guys, I've got a bit of a chesty sort of nose is blocked in again and stuff. Goldmans goes P5 in the Racing Bull. That is how it's done. So, what about Casper in the Alpine? All eyes on me, says Casper, as it will be Mitch and Nimble that drop into the bottom 2 if Casper does improve on his lap time. So we'll see what happens. And the Alpine driver coming out of Parabolica. And to the line, and P6 for Casper. So guys, 1 second. So Nimble went up to P11. And CJ is now down to P16, and it's full qualifying salute. So CJ, he's still on the full wet tyres. This is a really risky strategy here in qualifying. Down to the line, CJ goes P14, but you've got Super Turbo, Zora War and Mitch all to go again. Has CJ made the biggest cock up here in Formula 7 realistic, with the Racing Bull driver on the brink of elimination? Nimble up to P11. Who seen that coming? Here comes Mitch. Zora War is on a lap. He's just coming out of the second Lesmo corners down to Seraglio. This will be very interesting indeed. Will Zora War back on the grid after his racing ban? And he's invalidated it. Zora War has invalidated it. He's used a lot of battery as well. And just might come to the saviour of CJ. Mitch is on the lap. He's nearly a second up. Super Turbo is on an out lap. Zora War might go out here. He has got a little bit of battery to potentially go again. He's not got any battery actually, and he's into the pit lane. Zora War is out in Q1. It is down to Mitch, Super Turbo and CJ. Will CJ make it to the line to go for another lap? This is going to be extremely close. Mitch comes through Ascari. He does what he does best. Down towards Parabolica for the Kick Sauber driver. The McLaren is going again. You don't usually see McLarens that far down, but this is what the conditions bring. Zora War is out with Jack with the engine penalty and Theo, Epic Ocean with the qualifying ban. Mitch will come to the line and the Sauber driver goes P9. CJ is the driver at risk and he missed it. He missed the checkered flag. It is down to Super Turbo. Either one McLaren goes out or the racing bull of CJ goes out. Fanfness in the Mercedes goes quickest here in Q1 in front of both Ferraris. AMS Mirko will be next. The AMG driver takes P3. Mercedes, Ferrari, no McLarens. Goldmans and Casper will be next. Nick and Nimblecat. Nick in the Kick Sauber is improving on his lap time. And the former Ferrari driver goes up to P8. And Lewis W in the Papaya McLaren will be next into Parabolica. And it's him to hold the light, the orange shining light here in Monza. Comes to the line and Lewis goes P2. And this is Super Turbo, he's kept it valid. And this will knock CJ out here in Q1. Nimblecat is going to get through in a Williams. This is quite incredible. Super Turbo down to the line. The McLaren goes P5 and CJ is out. You mustn't have that USB stick in. That is it for Q1. He made a huge mistake staying on them wet compounds. I think he thought he would make it through on the wets and save a set of intermediates. I think that was the strategy. Let me just do the stats quickly. Fanfinus, Lewis, Dennis, Mirko, Super Turbo, Casper, Reese, Deadly, Jeffy, Goldmans. I like to put all the stats in whilst we've got them. Sauber P11, that's Nick. Then we've got Ryan, Mitch, Jay, Nimble, Chaka, Zora War, the Hassan P18. Who was that? Jack. I don't know why it never brings Jack up. Maybe they haven't got the realistic role, so it doesn't bring it up. Anyway, then Tojo and Epic OJ. So we move on to Q2. So I need to change your name actually. Let me change it now whilst we're on stream. So it's not Tojo anymore. It is. It might change your... Have you got a driver picture? When I changed the name, the driver picture also changed. How do you spell your surname? Because I've not got it up now. If you've got a driver picture, I need to change the name of that in the file. Tarnland. Ah, brilliant, thank you. Right, I might need to update your picture if you have got one. If you if you want to upload a picture, you can do, and I will add it to the file, and it will be on all of the graphics. Anybody is more than welcome to add one. I can add it to the folder. Let me actually just change the name of Theo's, so that is already updated. Because I'm already on it, because I was updating some of the badges. So, users, images, driver avatars, and have we got one for Tojo? We have. Oh, we need to change the name of that to Theo. Beautiful. There we go. Oh, can't do it because the file's open. 1 second. There we go. And reopen it. Oh, Goldman's. Yeah, I think I've added yours. I'm pretty sure I've added yours. Let me just double check though. Or have I not added it yet? I'll add it. I'll add it. Yeah. So on to Q2. And I think the Haas will be the first driver, or is he on an outlap? He is on an outlap, and then we have a Sauber Mitch on an outlap. Is that Ferrari behind him? Also on an outlap it is Reese. Hackmore is on a lap in the Ferrari, so let's see what he can do. You'll still have Hadjar. So, Goldman's, I will have a look at your picture. Where did you post your picture in Formula Racing driver things? I need to update Udis as well. I can't see yours, Gold. Ah, yes, you're right, you did send one. 1 second. I'm sure I added that though. I will update it straight after the race. So, Hackmore goes fastest, Ryan Devine in P2, Nick in P3. AMS Mirko on the wets in P4, Nimblecat in the Williams in P5, Deadly in the Aston Martin in P6, and then Reese in the Ferrari will be next after Mitch. So Mitch will come through first. Jay's in the Haas goes up to P3, and Mitch peels off into the pit lane. Casper will start his flying lap, so we'll go on board with the man challenging for the championship. Having a look at the standings, it's not going his way at the moment. Vanfinus leads, and Reese is 66 points behind him. He's 46 points behind B. Wright. So, with B. Wright not showing up today, B. Wright was only 20 points behind Vanfinus in the championship. So that will be interesting. But it is Ferrari 1-2 here in Q2. Casper in the Alpine will be next to settle that. The Alpine have struggled for drivers this year, and they're starting to just find a bit of a rhythm now. So hopefully they can move on to bigger things. Obviously Aston Martin, they need a new team principal. And I'm pretty sure their second seat is still vacant. So down towards Parabolica. And the Alpine coming up towards the line. Goes P4. What a lap. Goldman's in the racing bull coming out of Ascari. Yeah, no problem. So Goldman's in the Racing Bull will be next to the line. And the Racing Bull goes P7. He's got no help from his teammate in this session. Nimblecat in P11. Yeah, Zora, that's a real shame. Outlap for Mitch. And a couple of the drivers will go for multiple runs here. Nick not being one of them. Because you can overfuel and just do lap after lap on them intermediates. It says Dennis has front wing damage. He does, he has a missing end plate. So he's into the pit lane. Did he make a mistake? Very lucky to still be in this qualifying session. So the Williams of Nimblecat is going again, and Mitch in the kick Sauber. Strategies are going to be real important in tonight's Grand Prix. Wow, Dennis saying that was almost tyre gone. Yeah, seeing it come up with a big red FW on my screen. So Reese goes fastest in the Scuderia, 1:25.5, 4/10 quicker than his teammate. And then the kick Sauber just coming in towards Lesmo chicane. Yeah, well done, man. I don't know what to do with my Fortnite account. I've got the purple Skull Trooper, the Black Knight. I've been playing since Season 1, before Season 1. So Mitch coming out of Ascari down towards Parabolica. And he's just burning the rest of that battery. And he's low on fuel as well. So this is maximum push from Mitch in the Sauber. I can't see Mitch being at Kick Sauber next season. He has performed exceptionally well and continues to do so. And up to P4 for the Sauber driver. Nimblecat into the pit lane. AMS Mirko coming out of Retafilo. And around Curva Grande for the AMG driver here in the AMS team. Oh, Fortnite was amazing. I remember playing it every night after work with all my friends. We'd group up and we just had so much fun. Like, you'd go through the day at work or whatever and you'd look forward to coming home and playing it. As soon as you got home, you jumped straight on it with your mates into a party and just team up, and it was just so good. And then they just started getting a bit silly with it, and they essentially ruined the game. And I know a lot of kids still play it, but Fortnite nearly killed Call of Duty. What they needed to do with Fortnite is keep it really simple and only bring updates every like 6 months, because the events were unreal at the start. Everybody would jump online. You couldn't even get in a server because it was that busy. AMS Mirko up to P2. Yeah, everyone used to jump in a server and you couldn't even get in a server because they were that busy with people logging in for the events. But then they started bringing updates and bringing new guns and new modifications and new maps, and they just over-updated it. So AMS Mirko into P2, Super Turbo in the McLaren, goes P5, Fanfinus is back in, Lewis W in the McLaren will be next, he invalidated it so he's going to have to go again, and Nick in the Sauber. Into Ascari. You know what, Reese? I don't even think it was the playground mode, because I don't know, we used to do like fashion shows and all that in that playground mode, but it made it better for the sweats because they could just practice. They didn't even have to go into a game, they could just spend hours and hours doing 360 builds and all that sort of stuff. And the competitiveness, they're always going to have a competitive side, but because you had the playground mode, everybody wanted to be the competitive side. Because you used to go into battles, didn't you? And you could make it onto TV. It was just massive. It was massive. And because there was so much money in it, and you could practice like playing football and practice football, everybody would just sweat it out on playground. The building, man. Everybody, when they started building fucking Trump Towers in 20 seconds, that is when it killed it. I remember games of Fortnite where I'd sit right at the bottom of the map on a little bridge and we'd camp out there most of the game, hoping that the circle would land on us so we could stay there right to the end, and we'd build this massive fort over the course of like 10 minutes of the game, you know, and we'd wait to see somebody, and it was just amazing. You can't do that now. No build is pretty decent. I used to play a lot of Save the World when I was streaming though. Oh, he's run wide, and he's kept it valid. Nick's kept it valid even though he's run wide. Oh, Infinity Blades, oh my god. They had a really, really good concept with Save the World. It was very much like what I'm playing now in No Man's Sky, but like a watered down version. Save the World could have been amazing. I've still got a lot of really, really rare weapons on Save the World. So Ryan Darpavine in the Red Bull coming down towards Ascari. And Reese calls her day from Q2 with 2 minutes to go. Yeah, I'm absolutely bashing No Man's Sky at the moment. Absolutely bashing it. So Ryan Davine used his deployment before he got to the line, and it's only P7. And we do have some quick drivers coming around as well, one being Lewis. So the Papaya driver to the line will go P6, and that puts Casper on the brink of elimination in Q2. Jay in the Haas will be next, and he will empty the tank all the way up towards the line. And he goes P11, and it is not going to be enough to get through. Nimble and the Williams will be next. Nimble stays P14. Still a hell of a lap from the Williams. Fanfnis just starting his final run. Here comes Nick in the Sauber. If Fanfnis makes any mistakes here, we could see the championship leader and the reigning world champion going out in Q2. Here comes Nick in the Sauber to the line. And he will start his final run. The Mercedes of Mirko on an outlap. And then the Red Bull of Jeffy Boy. So they're all leaving it really late. Any mistakes here and it could cost them an opportunity to get into Q3. What about the Alpine of Casper also on an outlap? So everyone's on their final runs now. And Ryan Dijperveen will not be able to do any more. Wait, he might even get to the line for one more run. 7 seconds. This is going to be close. 6, 5, 4, 3. And he does get to the line with 1 second remaining. Ryan Dijperveen has done enough to go again, and he might need it. Super Turbo is not improving, and he will stay P4. Lewis W also stays P6. The Haas driver of J is not improving either. He will be out in Q2. The Mercedes of Fanfnis has kept it valid. That's what he needed to do. Fanfnis out of Parabolica down towards the line. And the reigning champion will move up into P2. He's done enough. And the Racing Bull of Goldman's goes P6. Is that enough to get him through? The Williams of Nimblecat will go into the pit lane. He won't be able to improve. Nick in the Kick Sauber will be next. He's in P13. He goes up to P13. Stays P13. Here comes AMS Mirko. He's a 10th and a half up. He's going to improve massively here. He might even in front of his teammate. He doesn't. Stays P3. And then Jeffy Boy in that Red Bull goes P9. Is that enough to get him through? That is going to be close. The Aston Martin of Deadly into the pit lane. Here comes Mitch in the Kit Sauber. He's on the brink of elimination. Ryan Dijperveen will be the last driver, and it's a good job he got to line because he would have been out. Here comes Casper. Has he got enough to knock out the Sauber? He does. And Ryan Dyberveen will be the final driver. He's backed out. Ryan Dyberveen has backed out, and he is out in Q2. A massive shock here as one Red Bull just scrapes through with the exact same time as the McLaren. And Mitch is out. Ryan Dyberveen is out. The Red Bull. Wow. Just over a tenth of a second separate P5 to P10. So at the end of Q2, it is Reese that gets through in P1, and then it is Fanfurness in P2. Let me just write this down. Mirko in P3 and Dennis in P4, Super Turbo in P5. P6 is Goldman's in the Racing Bull, out qualified both Red Bulls. Deadly in P7, Casper in P8, Lewis in P9 and Jeffy in P10. Then comes Mitch, who is out in Q2, Ryan Dyberveen, who is out, Jays in the Haas, who is out P14, that is Nick in the Kick Sauber, who also goes out, and Nimblecat in the Williams, who don't progress to Q3. Sorry guys, I was just grabbing something. So, the drivers out on their runs here in Q3. The Mercedes of Mirko just coming to the line to start his flying lap. And the Red Bull, or the Racing Bull of Goldman's. So, let's jump on board with the front runners. I think it is the Ferraris again. So, Reese just behind his teammate of Hackmore. So, the Belgian driver will be first. So, through Ascari. as the rain begins to fall. Remember, the track evolution will heat up them tyres, create a dry line, and the times will become faster. So just bear that in mind as the drivers get to the end of this qualifying session, and right near the end is where you'll find the optimal time. Catmore will be first though, and it's a 1:25.8, and Reese takes it off him, a 1:25.2 for him, and then Jeffy Boy in the Red Bull, a 1:26.6 for the Red Bulls. Not showing that much pace here in Monza in the rain. The McLaren of Lewis will be first of the Papayas. You see how they're coming through grouped on track. You've got the two Ferraris, now you've got the two McLarens, and then you've got the two Mercedes. So Lewis will be first, and it's a 1:25.9 for him, and then Super Turbo will be just after him, and he goes a 1:26.1, 2/10 behind Lewis. The two Mercedes will be next. It will be Mirko first, a little snap out of Parabolica. He shouldn't hinder him too much, and Mirko to the line, a 1:25.5 goes he too. Then Goldman's in the Racing Bull goes up to P6 and in front of the Red Bull once more. The Casper did invalidate it, so it will be Deadly in the Aston Martin coming through the Lesmos. Down through Seraglio for AKZ Deadly, and in towards Ascari as the drivers move out of the way over the apex. Oh, and he nearly slips it. He held on to it coming out of the back of Ascari, and he did hold on to that. He did really well actually. Down towards Parabolica, and Deadly in the Aston Martin. I'm not sure. Oh, and he has another snap. Oh, and another. That will compromise his lap time. It's going to be a 1:26.4, and it's P7 for the Aston Martin. Fanfinus will be next, the championship leader, 20 points in front of the McLaren, who is not here this evening, and 56 in front of the Ferrari, who's currently on provisional pole. So where can the Dutchman put it here in Italy? Down in towards turn 11 at Parabolica. And the Mercedes AMG Petronas driver back onto that battery before he's even left the chicane. And to the line, it's a 1:25.7, and it's P3, 2/10 behind his teammate, but in front of the other Ferrari driver. Goldman's now peels off into the pit lane. So the drivers have had their runs, they've got the bankers on the board, and at the moment it will be Reese that starts on pole position. Just what the Dr. Alvaro ordered. So Jeffy Boy in the Red Bull will go again. He just moves out of the way for that Aston Martin. I don't know if Deadly's on another lap here. I think he's got enough fuel to go again. So yeah, Deadly will go again, and Jeffy Boy goes off into the pit lane. What about Fanfinus? Is he on another lap? I think he is actually. So down in towards Parabolica for the Mercedes man. And into the pit lane, so he's not. So it will be Deadly once again. Around Curva Grande and down towards Della Roggia for the Aston Martin driver. Out of Della Roggia and down towards the double Lesmos at turn 6 and 7. Keeping it nice and tight to the chicane using the left-hand curve. And then in towards the second of the Lesmos. A little slip and a slide through there as he exits back onto the throttle, back onto the battery, and the rear wing will not open because it is chucking it down through Seraglio as we head towards Ascari. So the Aston Martin driver dropping it down into fourth gear, around 120 miles an hour through Ascari, back onto the throttle on the way out, keeps it valid. The battery use again towards Parabolica. And this is a pretty neat lap from the Aston Martin driver, who lost their team principal just this week. And they are fighting to keep them seats, and he's done a fantastic job there. Goes up to P6. Lewis W in the McLaren. He's currently in P5 behind the 2 Ferraris and 2 Mercedes. So he'll be looking to try and get a better lap on the board. I mean, Lewis will be happy where he is at the moment, P5. But if he can challenge any part of them front 4, he will be extremely happy. So in towards Della Roggia. Oh, and he's invalidated it. Yeah, he took a huge chunk of that. So 3 minutes remaining here in Monza. Super Turbo will be next out of Rettifilo and around Curva Grande. This is not his home Grand Prix. He is San Marie's. So Imola is his home Grand Prix. But he does wear that Italian flag. It is Mirko's home Grand Prix though, officially. So around the double Lesmos for Super Turbo. And for him to be in a McLaren today, I'm sure he'll be absolutely buzzing. So down through Seraglio and in towards Ascari at turn 8. So over the apex at 8, and then hugs the chicane at 9, and then over the apex at 10, back onto the battery, and then in towards Parabolica we go. So through Parabolica for Super Turbo, and then out of turn 11 down towards the line. Where's he going to put it? It is all on the line now, and it is P5 just behind Hackmore, but just in front of Lewis W, who is having to go again, and he is slightly up on his lap time. Hackmore just trying to get some heat into them tyres as he is about to go on his final run. I tell you who is on a lap, and that is AMS Mirko, his home Grand Prix. He is not waiting around, he is going for it. 1 minute and 20 remaining. Out of Ascari, back onto the battery. He's got his teammate just in front of him. Is he going to get a tow all the way down towards Parabolica? Fanfinus peels off, and Mirko has got a helping hand from his teammate to try and take pole position away from the Ferrari of Reese. These Mercedes drivers will be super competitive going in towards turn 1. Mirko down to the line, and Mirko stays P2 but just behind Reese, and here comes Fanfinus now with a massive slipstream off Mirko. So he is helping the reigning world champion try to defend his title. Lewis W will not improve, he's in the pit lane. Casper goes in towards Rettifilo. Reese is slightly up on his lap time coming out of the Lesmo chicane. Fanfinus now in towards Della Roggia, goes purple sector 1. Hackmore is nearly 2 tenths up in that Ferrari. So down through Seraglio towards Ascari for the Scuderia Ferrari. He's 4 tenths up. This is quite incredible. This is going to put him on the front row of this grid out of Ascari. That was really neat from Hackmore. Could he challenge his teammate for pole position? The checkered flag has waved. Deadly and Lewis will not be able to improve. Reese will peel off into the pit lane. Reese goes faster. Reese goes even faster. I forgot he was on a lap. Now here comes Hackmore, his teammate, and Hackmore goes P1. This is incredible. 2/1000ths of a second. Hackmore has taken pole position here in Monza. Will Fanfinus be able to fight back in that Mercedes? Here we go. Fanfinus goes P3 and in front of AMS Mirko. Super Turbo is in P5, but it will be Goldman's. Jeffy Boy in the Red Bull, and Casper. Casper goes P5 and in front of both McLarens in an Alpine. Goldman's in the Racing Bull, he's 4 tenths up. And the VCAR driver, where will he go? He will stay P9. And Jeffy Boy in the Red Bull is half a second up. Is it going to be enough? Jeffy Boy goes P6 and in front of both McLarens. Super Turbo is not improving, but can you believe that time from Casper? And both McLarens have been out qualified. by both Ferraris, both Mercedes, a Red Bull and an Alpine. The Tifosi go crazy here in Monza. It is a Ferrari front row. They lock it out in 1-2. So Hackmore takes pole position here in Monza. Reese will start in P2, Fanfinis in P3 and Mirko in P4. Casper in the Alpine will start in P5 and Jeffrey Boy in the Red Bull in P6. Super Trouba in the McLaren will start in P7 and his teammate in the other McLaren in P8. Deadly will start in the Aston Martin in P9 and Goldman's in the Racing Bull will start in P10. This will be really interesting going down in towards turn 1 to see if Reese and Hackmore swap positions and then Hackmore tries to defend against Fanfinis. We shall see. Honestly, I don't even know how Casper's done that, because it's such a straight track that it relies a lot on speed alone. So it's a quite incredible lap, that is. So formation lap is underway. So let's go through your starting grid. It is Hackmore that starts on pole position by 2/1000ths of a second. Reese will start in P2, locking out the front row are the Ferraris. The Mercedes lock out the second row. It is Fanfinis, the championship leader and the reigning world champion in P3, and Mirko at his home Grand Prix in P4. Casper in the Alpine in P5, and then Jeffy Boy in P6. The two McLarens in P7 and P8 locking up the fourth row. And then in P9 is Deadly on the fifth row of the grid, and Goldman's in P10. Mitch in the Sauber in P11 and Ryan Dabavine in the Red Bull in P12. Jay's in the Haas in P13 and Nick in the Sauber in P14. Nimblecat in the Williams with a fantastic qualifying in P15, and CJ in the Racing Bull opted for them softs in qualifying, starts P16. Zora Wall back from his race ban will start in P17 in that Williams, and then Jack with that engine penalty in the Haas will start in P18. Theo Tarnland in the Alpine will start in P19 with his engine penalty, and with the qualifying ban, Epic OJ in the Aston Martin will start in P20. So they all line up. Fanfinis gets a DSQ, so does Nimble. And the final driver, Epic OJ, to line up. Here we go, this is it. And for round 12, here in Formula 7 Realistic, powered by Sim Racing Setups. It is lights out and away we go. Hackmore got a bad start. Reese is already through and past him. What about Fanfinis in the McLaren? He's going to try and go in between both Ferraris. They do touch. The Ferrari is sliding. He is round into Rettifilo. And Hackmore, who started on pole position, loses multiple places. Reese and Fanfrenis are going at it around Curva Grande. The Dutchman against the British driver. Nothing to separate them as they go around Curva Grande and down towards Della Roggia. Merkel is up a position and Fanfrenis slots in behind Reese. Jeffy Boy's up 2 places into P4. Lewis is up 3 into P5. Well, Hackmore is down 6. What about Jays and Zora War? Jays is off the track in the Haas and Zora War in the Williams does get through. Jay is down to P18 now as Theo Tineland in the Alpine goes through, but Jay is down 5 places and Nimblecat in the Williams is down 5. Reese leads by half a second, going down in towards Ascari. What a start. That is awful for Hackmore. He's on the back of Casper. As we head down towards Parabolica, is he going to sneak up the inside? He's got the straight line speed. The Alpine driver tries to defend. Hackmore goes deep, nearly tags the Alpine. And that is Ryan Dipavine on Mitch, the Red Bull, up the inside. And Super Turbo and Deadly going wheel to wheel now. The Aston Martin and the McLaren. The Aston Martin looks like he's got more speed. And Hackmore will try again on Casper. Down towards turn 1 at Rettifilo. Is he going to go later on the brakes to Ferrari on the Alpine? The Alpine leaves in the space. They do slightly touch, but they're keeping it as clean as possible. And back out at Rettifilo we go. Hackmore once again trying to get the move done on Casper. Well, Casper trying to make it as difficult as possible. CJ is through on his teammate of Goldman's. In the pits goes Epico J. Jason Theo Townland. Super Turbo slamming on that brake pedal from P9. What about Deadly on Casper? He's going to go for him up into the Lesmos. He tags him. Casper's into the wall. Oh my God. He's done an Imblecat. Casper is into the wall and he is out of the Monza Grand Prix. A slight nudge from Deadly and that was all she wrote. So we do have a virtual safety car. And there's drama at the start. Jay gets a drive-through time penalty from P19. He's already pitted. And I think, yeah, Jay did get a drive-through. And Hackmore is thrown Deadly out of Rettifilo. They're going 3 wide. The McLaren, the Ferrari. Oh, the Ferrari, I think, just nearly collided into the McLaren. And now Deadly will go up the inside as they head down towards Della Roggia. And the Aston Martin wheel to wheel with the Belgian driver, and the Ferrari is back in to P6. The recovery drive is on. Fanfrenis still on the back of Reese. Reese needed Fanfrenis to be way behind, and he also needed Hackmore to do a lot more for him. Jay will absolutely need a safety car now. If him and Theo were able to come back through this from them to drive-throughs, this would be remarkable. Here comes Deadly and Super Turbo, wheel to wheel down towards Ascari. The McLaren has the inside line and he does go through. He edges ahead. The Aston Martin pulls out. And now what about the Sauber and Mitch? Is he able to make a move? He gets a good exit out of Ascari, but Deadly back onto the throw. What about Ryan Davivi in the Red Bull? We head down towards Parabolica. And no, he cannot get through. What about Goldman, CJ and Zora War? It's a really fascinating race. We are on at lap 4. Zora War sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix in that Williams. Goldman's is back through on his teammate. And the Williams of Zora War is trying to get through. Goldman's slight lock-up. Zora War seems like he's got a lot more pace. I'm surprised that wasn't a safety car at the start of this Grand Prix. Epic OJ setting the fastest lap. Mitch picking up a 3-second time penalty. That might be costly at the end of the Grand Prix. And that is Theo speeding into the pit lane and retires. Both Alpines are out of this Grand Prix. That is devastating for the Alpine team principal. A double DNF after 4 laps. Theo doesn't half have some bad luck. He's got a really high retirement rate. He just gets involved in a lot of incidents. Genuinely not his fault most of the time either. Here comes Jeffy Boy, wheel to wheel with Mirko. The Red Bull is going to go for the move on the Mercedes. Around the outside of Rettifilo. The Mercedes goes deep, then leaves the space for the Red Bull. And Mirko is back out of the chicane and stays in the podium places. There's a few gaps starting to open up. Yeah, exactly, Banana. I know she's not around at the moment anyway. So Fanfinis is now 1.3 seconds behind Reese. It'll be interesting to see if any of these drivers go for an undercut, you know, because these intermediates are already on like 20% after 5 laps. And we know the rain is going to get heavier at the end of the Grand Prix. So if a safety car does come out, that might bring the heavy rain earlier. So, Deadly through on Super Turbo. Lewis having a good race at the moment, he's in P5. This will be huge in terms of the Constructors' Championships for Ferrari and Mercedes to try and take points out of the McLaren. Jeffy chasing down Mirko. He has Lewis on his tail. They have opened up a gap of a second to Hackmore behind. The Haas of Jack does have slight front wing damage. Yeah, he's got a missing end plate. But he knows it'll be too costly to pit now. So into the pit lane goes Epic OJ and retires. So another retirement for Epic OJ. Oh, Reese takes a big chunk of the apex going in towards Ascari there. And look how much he's starting to pull away now. Fanfina's 2.4 behind. I think the drivers might have to be careful here. Epic OJ. I think his car will ghost by the time they get to him though. So the Ferrari in towards Rettifilo. Well, I'm hoping it ghosts anyway, because they are coming up to it. Yeah, he's pulled off to the side. Good stuff. Oh, there's a Mercedes. Oh, it looked like it slowed down quite a lot. And that is Nick from Ryan Diperveen. And the two Dutch drivers One in the green of the Sauber and one in the blue of the Red Bull, going at it around Curva Grande. They've opened up the door for Goldmans. Goldmans will go around the outside of the sister car, and now they're going to go free wide in towards Della Roggia. The Sauber tries to block him off. The Red Bull will come around the outside in towards Della Roggia, and he just about makes the chicane, and then Goldmans comes back at him in towards the Lesmos, and he backs out on the all, stay in position. But wow, that was close. Are we going to see it again? Resetting the fastest lap. He is on fire at the moment. Hatmore is back within touching distance of Lewis W. Realistically, the Ferraris would have needed Hatmore to play around with Fanfrenes, but here comes Hatmore and he's speeding. He's got some pace. He's going to sling up the inside of the McLaren. Lewis, I think, read him and knew what he was about to do, and now he tries to defend, and Lewis W trying to hold off that Scuderia behind as they go around Curva Grande. Will Hatmore find an opening down in towards Della Roggia? He's burning that battery once again. He'll have the inside line, and in towards Della Roggia. The Ferrari driver is up to P5, 1 down, 3 to go. He needs to just get within touching distance of Fanfrenes. What about CJ and Goldmans? These two racing bulls have been going at it the majority of this race. CJ with a 3-second time penalty. So into Ascari, we are on at lap 8. And the tyres are now roughly 32%. I'm wondering if anybody will go for the 2-stopper, because they're probably going to have to pit for maybe wets near the end of the race. So I'm wondering if anybody's going to double stop the intermediates and then go on to the wets, or they're just going to hold off the intermediates. I suppose that's where the team principles come into play, and Goldmans is through on the sister car of Ryan Diverveen down in towards Della Roggia. Goldmans up to P11. Ryan not having the best of races in that Red Bull. And into the Lesmos. He's going to go at the inside. No, he backs out into the second Lesmo. And then down towards Seraglio we go. CJ picks up another time penalty. That's what's cost him probably a lot of points this season. It probably, in the end, cost him his Red Bull seat when the decisions were made. He's such a good driver, he's such a quick driver, but honestly, picking up track limits will kill you as a driver. A late safety car, you could lose 25 points with a late safety car. You will lose multiple positions as a driver. And there goes CJ on Ryan Diverveen. He says, shut your mouth, Nathan. I'm just going past your driver. No, CJ was doing a tremendous job as a Red Bull driver. Doing a tremendous job. He is a very quick driver. But I worked it out, and I think we lost something like 80 points due to track limits. I don't think it was 80. Was it 60? Something like that. We lost a lot of points due to track limits. So I was trying to go for more consistency rather than pace. But CJ will definitely work his way back into the Red Bull if he wants it. I mean, he might be snatched up by a bigger team, you know, a better team principal. But I'm sure he'll have more opportunities to drive in that Red Bull till the end of the season. Like Jay has been probably the best reserve driver you could ask for in terms of Ferrari. He jumps in the Sauber, he jumps in the Haas, and he's jumped in the Ferrari when he's needed as well. He's been everything that a reserve driver should be. And he will always try his best to get to the end of the Grand Prix. And I just love that. I absolutely love that. Oh, Ryan! And that is it. Ryan speeds into the pit lane and retires. So, yeah, definitely are, bro. So, Reese in the Ferrari, coming down towards Ascari. Vanvinus only 2.9 behind, now them tyres around 44% worn. We have 4 DNFs, and all 4 of them have been in the pit. No, all 3 of them have been in the pit lane, barring Casper, who got crashed out. So here comes Hackmore in the Ferrari into the slipstream with Jeffy Boy. Is he going to get him in towards Retafilo? He's coming at some pace. He's going to try and go around the outside. He goes later on the brakes. And the Red Bull driver gives him the space. CJ speeds into the pit lane as well. The Red Bull and the Ferrari go wheel to wheel. But it is Jeffy Boy that gets the better exit and just stays ahead. So Jeffy doing a job at defending. Hackmore has gone for quite a few good moves this evening. Late moves, but good moves. Kept it clean. Lewis W is staying with them. Deadly and the Aston Martin do a tremendous job. So 12 laps down, 15 to go. When does the heavy rain come? Goldman's in the racing bull into the slipstream of Nick. Resetting a fastest lap on 13 lap old intermediates is crazy. That is Mitch into the pit lane, so he is going for the undercut. I like it. Mitch in the Kick Sauber will go on to a fresh set of intermediates, I think. Imagine somebody just went wet and was like, yeah, sack it, I know it's going to get heavy rain, I'm going to the end. So Mitch is going for the undercut. Jack is now up to P11. What about Hackmore and Lewis still battling behind Jeffy Boy? Yeah, there will be discussions afterwards, Banana, in the Red Bull conference room. In the Red Bull motorhome. So Goldman's down through Seraglio towards Ascari. Look at this, 3 tenths of a second is the gap between the Red Bull and the Ferrari. And then the McLaren also 3 tenths behind. Are any of these going to try and go for the undercut to peel off and get in front of the other drivers? That is Deadly that goes into the pit lane. And having a look at the tyres, they're around 55 to 60% now. CJ is through on Nimble, and so is Zora War. Was that a tactical change between the Williams drivers? Probably so. Nick and Deadly are into the pit lane. Deadly is on his way out, and he will come out just in front of Jack in the Haas. And what about Mitch? Mitch has undercut his teammate of Nick. Wow. Jeffy doing a tremendous job defending these 2 exceptional drivers behind. And Fanfness is now only 2.2 behind Reese. We know that Reese is a phenomenal driver, but when his tyres get really worn, he starts to struggle. And is that the case here? Fanfness is only 1.9 behind Reese. Yes, he's into the pit lane, and Fanfness will follow him in. They both go penalty free. Mirko will stay out. What about Jeffy Boy in the Red Bull? Is he going to come in? He does. He peels in. And then the McLaren of Lewis W comes in behind. Super Turbo stays out. This is very interesting. Where does Reese come out in this pack? Fanfness also pitted at the same time. And Reese will come out in some very, very clean air. Jeffy Boy Lewis being overtaken by Deadly is Goldman's, and he's going to get Lewis W as well. Deadly's undercut is phenomenal. He's up to P7 and behind Jeffy Boy as they go in towards Retafilo. Nick is through on Jack. Remember Jack with that missing end plate. Zora War gets through. No, that was CJ back through on Zora War. Nimblecat into the pit lane to get them fresh tyres on. Does Reese start to pull away from Fanfness again? So does Mirko pit this lap? He does. So Mirko in the Mercedes into the pit lane. Hackmore stays out. Wow. Super Turbo into the pit lane. Reese will now be back up to P2 and behind his teammate. Is this tactical? Where does Mirko come out? So Mirko came out in P4. He lost around 2 seconds to Fanfness with the overcut, but he didn't lose any positions. Jack can finally get that front wing changed. Can Lewis W catch up to Deadly? In towards Ascari we go. We shall see. So 10 laps remaining here in Monza. Hackmore did pit. And he will come out behind Jeffy Boy and behind Deadly as well. And what about Lewis? Hatmore has lost the position to Lewis. That is CJ is back through on Zora War, and CJ is back into the pit lane in that Racing Bull. And he is retired. That is a Racing Bull out of the race. So, CJ out of the Grand Prix. So, Hatmore went for the overcut. Oh, and he's picked up a 3-second time penalty. That is what I'm talking about penalties being costly. So, a 3-second time penalty for Hatmore. He stayed out for an extra 2 laps and it cost him 2 positions. Zora War picks up a time penalty. Yellow flag. That is, I think, a Williams. It's Zora War who spun it at a Scarrett. Is that a virtual safety car? Yeah, VSC. So this might actually benefit a driver that hasn't pitted yet, potentially. Zora War retires in the pit lane. I'm not sure why, he was doing well in P12 in that Williams. So a lot of teams will be losing money this evening. Jay needs some sort of safety car to get back in this race, otherwise he's going to be overtaken. Mr. East, your drivers are still going. Oh, Deadly, who is in P5 in an Aston Martin, has picked up a drive-through time penalty. This is so damaging for Deadly, who is having a phenomenal Grand Prix. That is Lewis and Hatmore going at it. Hatmore goes up the inside of Parabolica. Lewis slides in the Papaya McLaren, and the Scuderia is through as he chases down the Aston Martin with 8 laps remaining here in Monza. Can the Ferrari come back at the Aston Martin as well? He's going to get a 2-for-1 deal down in towards Rettifilo. The Aston Martin sticks his nose there. The Ferrari takes the wider line. Can he get the better exit on the Aston Martin? Deadly gets his foot down, but it's not enough. And Hatmore is up to P5. What about Jeffy Boy? He is right on the tail of Mirko now. So this will be points taken away from Fanfurness for Reese, and it will be massive points to be right as well for Reese. But considering the gap's 56 points between Fanfurness and Reese, it's not as many as Reese would have liked. 7 laps remaining. Is the rain starting to get heavier? Oh, and that is Deadly into the pit lane to serve his drive-through. I do feel for Deadly here, because he was having a great race. What about Jeffy Boy on Mirko? Remember, this is for a podium. 7 laps to go. So round his tail, but he slips around Della Roggia. So the Red Bull chasing down the Mercedes, down in towards Parabolica. And the Mercedes of Mirko is holding on, but for how long? Is the Red Bull going to burn the battery into the slipstream of the Mercedes? He will move over to the left-hand side. They're going to go wheel to wheel into Rettifilo in the pouring rain. He tries to switch it back up the inside, tries around the outside. That is absolutely outstanding. An amazing overtake from Jeffy Boy. Just done to perfection. Quite remarkable. So Mirko is down to P4. Jeffy Boy is into the podiums. Super Turbo Lewis W are doing a fantastic job in the Papaya McLarens. They're in P6, they're in P7. What about Mitch? He's now only half second behind Nick, and the two Saubers are both in the points. This is great for Bjorn and the Kick Sauber team. And out of Ascari, that is Hackmore that's from Mirko. Hackmore's going for a move now. Mirko is struggling in the rain. This is home Grand Prix, but it is unforgiving here in Monza. And Hackmore is closing down. That is a yellow flag. I'm not sure why though. Hackmore will have to take another chance at this, but he is. Mirko chasing down Jeffy Boy, down into Rettifilo at turn 1. But the Red Bull is now going to defend for his life for this podium. That is Hackmore, that is from Mirko, down into Della Roggia. The Mercedes goes later on the brakes, wheel to wheel once more. The Ferrari's over the chicane, they tangle, they touch, and the Ferrari has to scoot off to the right hand side. Still nothing to separate them as they go around the Lesmos. The Mercedes collided with the Ferrari, and the McLaren of Lewis W goes through. Lewis W picking up the pieces and gaining positions. So Mirko and Super Turbo. Will Super Turbo be the next driver to pick up a position out of Ascari? Why is Mirko struggling so much? So into Parabolica. Can Super Turbo make a move? He can. AMS Mirko has got the straight line speed to just stay ahead. Goldman's is on the back of Mitch. Here comes the Racing Bull to separate the two Saubers. And the Racing Bull of Goldman's is through and up to P9 into Rettifilo. Swings it in front of that Kick Sauber. And Goldman's is now up to P9. A good drive from him in that Racing Bull. So 4 laps remaining. Maybe, I'm not sure what's happening to Mirko. because he's shown pace all race. Jeffy Boy starting to pull away a little bit from Hackmore. The rain has got heavier, but it is still intermediate weathers. I'm not sure how much, though. I don't think it'd be worth pitting for the wets, though, now. On my system, it does say 94% rain. So that is like heavy rain. But it doesn't seem like it's really heavy rain. Reese is... Oh, there's Hackmore! Jeffy Boy and Hackmore are going at it into Rettifilo again. The Ferrari is through, but the Red Bull is coming back. He got the better exit out of Rettifilo again, and Hackmore will have to settle back in for P4 with 3.5 laps remaining. The Scuderia did go for it, but it didn't pay off this time round. But I'm sure there'll be more to come till the end of this Grand Prix. Mitch is into the pits. On to fresh intermediates. Wow, he comes out in P10. Oh, it's a free pit stop. It's a free pit stop for Mitch. He's not going to lose anything. And the tyres on these intermediates are around 40 to 50%. So they'll comfortably get to the end now. Look at Hackmore, only 2 tenths behind that Red Bull driver around Parabolica, trying to stay on that dry line, and then moves into the slipstream, and yeah, it is absolutely chucking it down now. This is where the drivers will struggle with 2 laps to go. The Ferrari will be sent the long way. He goes later on the brakes again. It is so good how Hackmore manages to brake so late and still get the car to come to a stop to make the chicane. It's really good. So Hackmore is into the podium places. What a move that is. Around Curva Grande, the Red Bull goes into the slipstream. He will go to the outside of Della Roggia. The Red Bull, he touches the Ferrari, and Hackmore does squeeze through. Lewis is watching all this unfold, hoping that he can pick up the scraps. Hackmore has a time penalty, so if Lewis can get through on Jeffy Boy, this is a podium for the McLaren. But it is absolutely treacherous out there now. The rain is battering this circuit. Fanfurness only 2.4 behind Reese. He is starting to gain ever so slightly. And Jeffy Boy's lost nearly a second to Hackmore. Hackmore needs to start pulling away if he wants to keep this podium, and I think that's what's in his mind. Has he been looking after them tyres? You know what? I've got a feeling that's exactly what Hackmore has done. He's been looking after them tyres, because his tyres are about 20% fresher than everybody around him. And this is where the Ferrari will put his foot down. Here comes Mirko on Lewis W. In towards Rettifilo. 2.3 is the gap now for the Mercedes. A little bit of traffic in front of Reese as he just navigates round the Williams. Remember, Dennis does have that 3-second time penalty. Look at this rain. And my Goldman's on them fresh. No, sorry, Mitch on them fresh intermediates. Here he comes into the slipstream, and he takes a bit of the slipstream away from that Williams, but going on to the last lap, he will be 2 seconds behind. Is that enough to catch up to the Ferrari? I don't think so. So it will be a Ferrari win here in Monza. If it stays like this, if he makes no mistakes. But he's got one more lap to do it, and he'll be taking points, massive points, away from B. Wright in the McLaren and Fanfurness in the Mercedes. What about Lewis W? And the gap to Hackmore is nearly 3 seconds. Hackmore is going to keep the podium with a time penalty. So we are on to the final lap. And that is Jack that is through on Deadly. And did Deadly make a mistake in the Aston Martin? I think he did. And he slips through Ascari. Mitch pitted, he had a free pit stop. So Reese coming down through Seraglio towards Ascari. And look at that, he's taking that really slow now. He doesn't want to get a penalty on the final lap. Yeah, Fam's done a tremendous job actually. I think he's got 5 race victories already this season in realistic. So Reese, the Scuderia Ferrari, here in the home of the Ferrari, here in Monza, the Tifosi go wild, but it is Reese in the Ferrari that takes the race victory, and it will be a double Ferrari podium as Fanfness takes P2, the championship leader, but it is both Ferraris on the top steps here in Monza. Jeffy Boy will come through to take P2. What about Mirko and the McLaren? Mercedes McLaren. McLaren takes P5. There's a yellow flag. I think that is an Aston Martin. It is. Deadly is into the wall. The checkered flag has waved. And that is it. Just get to the end of the race, Deadly, because it'll mess up the standings, mate. If you retire now, a lap in front of everyone else, a lap in front of the 2 people behind, it'll mess up the standings. Nice one, mate. I don't know, it just can't recognise people DNFing and drivers being a lap behind, then they have to automatically adjust it. Yeah, he's got no front wings, so he did bin it. Deadly. But he will come through. A really unfortunate race for Deadly. I think he'd have been battling for the podiums. How was it that a rain-fueled race around Monza is probably turning out to be one of our cleanest races of the season? I didn't really see anything that would warrant a ticket. How is that even possible? There we go. Well, let's have a look. There we have it. The Ferrari in front of the Tifosi. The Scuderia team take the victory here in Monza. So let's have a look at the final standings. So Reese takes the race win in the Ferrari. It is the championship leader and the reigning champion. Fanfness takes P2. Dennis in P3. Jeffy Boy in P4. Lewis in P5 by 26 thousandths of a second. Mirko in P6. And then Super Turbo in P7. P8 in the Sauber is Nick. That's a great result, by the way. Racing Bull in P9 is Goldman's. That's another fantastic result. And in the Haas in P11 is Jack. He raced with wing damage nearly all race as well. So yeah, brilliant stuff. Reese got the fastest lap. And driver of the day here in Monza will go to Nick in the Sauber. Yeah, we will do interviews. let me just turn the audio down because when I do interviews, they copyright when I upload it to YouTube, so that's why I'm doing that. Right, so we'll wait for the drivers to join, then we'll do commentary, and I'm also going to update Nick's name as well because it's annoying me just being a Nick. So it is Owen Salmon. Owen Salmon met Nick. I'll just do it like that. Right, 1 second. So Owen Salmon met Nick. And then I can update the standings. So Q1, we got Nick, I think. We need to update that. And then we'll jump on to... Oh, it's already updated it all for me. Brilliant. Right, so we'll start off with... I think it's only the... so Dennis is in, Fanf is in, and Reese is in. Right, okay. So we'll start off with your P3 driver, Dennis, a podium in the ribbons of red. How was that, mate? Yeah. No, you absolutely did. And just talk us through the start. You had that slip. You dropped down to P7, so you had to come all the way back there. No, absolutely. And you had that 3 second at the end, and you just... I mean, I was looking at your tyres. Your tyres were 20% fresher than the Red Bull of Jeffy behind, so I knew that you were looking after your tyres right till the end. No, absolutely. Well, it was a fantastic race, mate, and a well-deserved podium. A great race to come back into, so congratulations and well done. Cheers, Dennis. So we move on to your P2 driver, the championship leader, Fanfinus. How was that one?
Very nice one, to be fair. Not very exciting one, but a very nice one.
Yeah, comfortable. It's a comfortable one.
Yeah, I think me and Lewis were just better than the rest all today. I think Lewis was a bit better on the intermediates, and I was a bit better with the full wet conditions with the intermediates. But all in all, it was very, very balanced, completely balanced. Uh, he could always manage the second gap and he could push, but then he needs to recharge, and it was always that kind of thing. So it was always going to be balanced, and then finish ahead of like, what was it, like 14 seconds ahead of the rest. It's insane.
Yeah.
Uh, Only thing was with the start. I had a good start. Dennis didn't. We went 3 wide. Reese tried to cover me off, but I was already side by side with him. But I was already side by side with Dennis. So he kind of pushed me into him, but it was all like very small. But I was ahead of Dennis, and Reese was ahead of me. I was gaining on Reese, and then when he braked, he just turned into me, sort of. His rear wheel hit my front wheel, and I shifted over to Dennis, and I think that's what Dennis killed Dennis a bit at the start.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there was also Red Bull coming down the inside of everyone, so.
Yeah. Well, it
So
was
I
a
don't know
hectic
who.
start, but considering it was raining, it was pretty decent, to be fair. It was a pretty
I
clean
think it
race.
was, yeah, it's just shit for Dennis to be fair, but yeah, what would you do in this situation? Not really. I think Reese should have maybe could have been a bit more conservative with everything in mind, but it was never gonna be a very nice start for Dennis going 3 wide on the outside there. So it's a bit of a
No.
shit situation.
Yeah. Well, you're leading the championship now by 38 points to be right, and 51, 56 points or something like. Sorry, let me work it out. Sorry, 19, 59 points to Reese. So you've got a nice healthy lead going into the final straight of this championship. Are you confident?
So how many runs again?
So is it 19 or 20, something like
No, how many rounds left?
that? 7, I think.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. Yeah,
7
I
or
have some
8.
nice. I think 7. Um,
Right.
but there are some good starts for me as well. Las Vegas, Mexico, Yas Marina, of course. Miami is a good start for me as well, sort of. So some good circles coming up again for me. Hope I have a bit more luck compared to the last few races. But
Yeah.
just seeing the CSA clean, just stay with be right and with Reese, and um, I hope Dennis is not too much of an annoyance. And yeah,
Well,
that
it's
that's all
been
I need to. That's all I need to do. To be fair, it's hard, but of course, I'm already happy to be in this situation. I was never expected to be in this situation coming into this, so trying to make the best of it. But it's always hard. It's so hard, I guess.
no, absolutely. And to have a gap at this stage in the Grand Prix of 38 points is amazing. So another fantastic race, another podium, a P2 on the grid. Congratulations on a great Grand Prix race, mate.
Yes, thank you, mate. Congratulations well to Dennis and Reese, of course, and thank you.
Cheers, fam. So there you have it, the championship leader and the reigning world champion. We move on to your race winner, the Tifosi were cheering, draped in red, the Scuderia Ferrari wins here in Monza. Reese, how was that one, mate?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad at all.
That makes it your fourth race victory of the realistic season, and it now brings the gap ever so closer. You are now only 21 points away from B Right, and obviously that 59 away from Fanfners. Do you see yourself being in the championship? And just talk us through the race as well.
So first off with the race, I mean, quali obviously was a bit dodgy. I think we know I'm not so good in the wet, especially on one lap pace. So yeah, I was still happy to get 1-2 at Dennis. That was the best thing we could have asked for.
Yeah,
And then going into turn one, obviously had the incident. I got hit from Mirko behind. I think that's where Fanfinis sort of like locked wheels with me. So I don't know if you saw on stream, but I sort of spun and then I had to go into first gear and then sort of went around the outside of Fanfinis. So I think it was a lot of factors going into what happened, but yeah, I wouldn't really say anything from it from my side, to be honest. And then
yeah,
yeah, just I was surprised with my pace. I thought I knew Fanfinis was running higher wings. We noticed that on the speed trap from qualifying, so I was surprised I was still like maintaining the gap in sector two especially. And then yeah, just kept pulling away, and then I realised I had zero point 0.1 laps of fuel left with about 11 laps to go, so I started managing. Um,
Jesus.
and then it got really tricky once obviously the rain started pouring. I was slightly lower wings, so yeah, it was definitely harder to keep it on track. But yeah, just had to be um, careful of the gap. But yeah, overall well executed race.
No, it absolutely was. It was a brilliant race, and you did everything you needed to do. When the rain started chucking it down near the end, it was always tough, and the gap was getting smaller, but you were always in control of the race. Obviously, turn one, from our view in the commentary box, it didn't look to be anything major. It was just a tangle of wheels going into turn one. Nobody's fault really, from what I've seen on stream, but the stewards will look into that. In terms of the race overall, it was a great Grand Prix. You were just so dominant. You and Fam way clear of everybody else. Now, in terms of the championship, are you looking forward to the final 7 races?
Yeah, definitely. I just had a look at the calendar. I'm a big fan of Singapore, Brazil. I'm always pretty good at. Same goes with Qatar and Miami. Um, and there's a lot of points up for grabs. And if if the results go my way, we can see what happens. Like I need to gain like I think 9 point something points on Fanfulness per round, which is definitely doable. Obviously, when Ben comes back, that'll hopefully put a spanner in the works. And obviously, Dennis been unfortunate the last few weeks, but I'm sure he'll have something to say too. But yeah, I think if results go my way, it's definitely still on. I mean, when I looked at the standings the other day, and if I didn't have my DNFs in, well, my pretty much DNFs in
China.
I had my DNF in China, and then obviously I didn't have a front wing in Bahrain and Australia. So yeah, if I add them on, I'm literally right on with Amphinus, and that's forgetting about the Imola DNF, which was very controversial.
Yeah. You've been in the wars.
I was in the wars the first 6 rounds, yeah, but since then I think I've done alright. But yeah.
No, you absolutely have. You've showed why you are a Tier 1 world champion in the second half of the first half of this campaign. So, looking forward to the final 7 races, mate. It's another great victory. Makes it 4 race wins. Only 1 race win behind the Fanfulness, who is leading the championship. So you can see how consistent you are when you do get to the end of the race. So, looking forward to see what you can do. So, congratulations on another brilliant race win at your home Grand Prix here in Monza for the team as well. So, congratulations, Reese.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for comms, and well done to Fanf and Dennis as well.
Thanks, Reese. Well done, mate. So there you have it. Reese, who phenomenal once again, takes the race victory here in Monza. Another amazing race to watch from the commentary box. Thank you all so much for tuning in and watching it with us. Well done to all the drivers and team principals who do a massive job in running their teams and everything. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.